Hello there. My name's Mark, and this is episode 64 of the Holocron Chronicles. I am joined, as always, by someone throwing up some signs and someone else throwing up some Star Trek signs, about to get him kicked off this show before we even really get started.
Oh, it wasn't me. Okay.
The first one was I'm surprised.
It was Nanu.
I'm surprised that Charlie wasn't the first one to make me go Star Trek crazy. But Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm so much better because of our guest. I mean, I heard he was coming on and I was very excited, and then I was nervous and I was a little gassy, and ultimately here we are.
Excellent. Those are all of the range of emotions.
It is just it's a cornucopia. It's a bell jar.
That's it. That's exactly it. Our guest, newcomer in the podcast world, someone that is very, very well known on the indie scene, but you probably never heard of him. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Todd Oxtra, as you should all know from Secret Friends Unite. Todd, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's Star Wars, so why wouldn't I be here?
Oh,
exactly.
Boy, this might end up being a very short show. I'm like, he drops in there, oh, Todd's going to join us. I'm like, the guy who hates Star Wars wants to come on our Star Wars show.
It's a rumor. That was in We Got This Covered, Charlie. Come on, you know that.
It's a rumor. That's from one of the Beatles movies. It was a quote from George. No, it's a rumor.
Absolute fake news. Todd, we're very happy to have you. You've been on this show before. We covered Rogue One together. And it's great to talk to you 2 weeks in a row, because we usually do co-op mode together for anyone that just listens to this show.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm happy to be on. I will break myths of my interest in Star Wars, so hopefully I can defy expectations and have a good time today with you guys and talk about some really cool stuff.
Nice. Absolutely. Right. Before we get into that really cool stuff, I have to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, our best bud, Jamie Prinky, and the BFF tier, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, Missy Merchant, and Andy Milliken. Thank you all, especially that BFF tier. That support just means the world to us. It is amazing. If you would like to support us over there, you can, again, go to patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. And there's more. Yes. If you call in the next 10 minutes, fellas, what can they win?
We turned off the Secret Friends Unite voice hotmail.
Yeah, about 6 years ago. Yeah, over on patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, you can try our gauntlet of programs for free for 1 week. Now, Todd and I, it's so fortuitous that Todd's on. We do a great show about comic books called The Spinner Rack that comes out every other Friday. I am joined by a cavalcade of guests on a show called The Facts of Geek Life, which talks about vintage television programs. We break down a few episodes and have a rockin' good time. Mark jumps in there with his Canardians Corner from time to time. We had a great
recording tonight, actually.
Nice. I wonder what that's
recommendation.
About, Mark.
I know, yeah.
I would say it's been a while. I do a great show with my wife, but where we tear up terrible movies. Todd might join us to talk about Wing Commander in a couple of weeks here. I hope so. I don't know. He's on the fence.
I found a copy in a landfill in the North 40, so I will be joining you.
I'm so excited. But anyway, please, jump on there. Try us out. Our content is available to you for a week. And if you like it, feel free to stay on board. There's lots of different levels of support that you can provide to us financially. But whatever makes sense for you, we hope you enjoy it. Again, patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. We hope to see you there.
Woo! And if you're just listening, you can also head over to YouTube and subscribe to us there. We'd love to see the channel over there grow. You can see our faces and backgrounds and interesting stuff. Todd and Charlie both show me up. I have like a Mando helmet and a lightsaber in the background, and these guys have.
He lives in a real house. I do have the camera pointed away from, and this is a joke between Todd and I. There's some construction going on behind my house, which affected this tiny sliver of my studio that made all of just my Star Wars figures fall down. Half of the shit. It just so I have it's an epic mess on my Mandalorian shelf. Everybody is dead except Bill Burr and IG-11. All the other figures
What
fell
happens
down.
when you hire Empire Construction?
I guess, yeah, it's bad stuff. So yeah, they went very domino. So I haven't set them up because I'm afraid they're going to fall down again. But eventually, I'll have to take the chance.
You should play the Chumbawamba song and encourage them.
Do. But anyway, what you see behind me, the Marvel, the Star Trek, the G.I. Joe. So I'm a figure guy, as you know.
Fantastic. I do also, I usually plug my Level Up Lightsabers affiliate link, and that link is in the show notes if you need it. But I just received a new lightsaber from crsabers.ca, which is offering, I don't have an affiliate code for anything like this. This is just me talking. Chris, the owner of CR Sabers, was on the show before and is a great guy. But they're offering Canada's first $100 lightsaber, which is this one that I just got. It's an RGBX, which means you can get it with an SD card that has a ton of different sound fonts. It can connect to your phone, so you can really control all the things.
Oh, really?
More sound fonts. Yeah,
wow.
really cool.
That's sweet.
You can control it like it's the Force.
Usually that level used to be kind of relegated to the higher up lightsabers, like the Xenopixels, Neopixels, that kind of stuff. And those ones are great if you're going to show off. But if you want to beat the ever-loving crap out of something,
and who doesn't,
an RGB lightsaber is the way to go, because there's no lights in this blade. It's just a hollow tube, and it's basically a flashlight. So that's it.
Todd, maybe you'll remember this because you and I are close to the same age. You remember in the early 80s when they had the light up lightsabers that essentially it almost seems like it was a phosphorescent bulb, like what I have in my lights up here. Because I swear to God, one of the latchkey kids that I was, the daycares that I was in after school, because I had a single mom, that a kid had that thing, and it was absolutely terrifying that if you really hit something hard enough, it would just be shattering glass.
And that's the thing with these Xenopixels and even like the Galaxy's Edge saber that I have, like there's lights all throughout the blade, and it can make some really cool effects. It's way brighter. It's better for like cosplay and photos and all that kind of stuff. But these ones, if you're actually going to battle them or hit them against anything, like Finn and I were outside yesterday, just cracking the lightsabers together. He had a great time because now I have two.
Nice.
And if that's the way you're going, the RGBX is awesome. So if you're Canadian and you're looking for a lightsaber, crsabers.ca has a $100 lightsaber now. And
so that's $100 Canadian or $2.85 US.
Exactly. That is how
I love it.
works.
But the shipping is $200 in the US.
Yeah, that's kind of where they get you. There's free shipping.
It's not one of those monthly programs where they give you one part a month and it's $100 a month.
Oh my gosh. Mark, I never asked you about the Ted Lasso glasses. You did get them, right?
I did. They're amazing. There's one right there.
I went back to look for them again, and I waited too long because they were all gone. Because I'm like, I'd like to have some of those for myself. I was really bummed out. But yes. Yep. Anyway,
they're so good. I'm not drinking out of one tonight, but they're fantastic.
So sorry for the aside. There is actually a lightsaber fighting community in Minnesota. It's called the Saber Legion, and that's exactly what they do. They essentially are doing what is it called? LARPer, but all Star Wars with lightsabers. I'll send you a link about it. It's very cool because I got invited to it as part of like the geek community here. I've never joined them before, but it's there was a big article in the Star Tribune, which is our biggest newspaper here.
Wow,
yeah, that's kind of cool. Like if you did want to get into some kind of Mortal Kombat, kind of cool.
Mark, if you ever made the trip, I would come out and at least hang with you while you fought with people with lightsabers. That sounds fantastic.
I have a friend of mine that wants to. Now that I have two, he's like, "Let's do this." I was like, "Let's do this. Let's go." So let's let's get into what we're going to get into in a second. But I want to learn a little bit more about Todd. You've already been on the show. You've already answered some of our questions, but we've got some new ones. So I'm going to skip the how did you get into Star Wars. People that are interested can go back and listen to Rogue One. But you actually threw a new question. I'm going to start there. Do you have a favorite Star Wars collectible?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, Mark.
Hilarious.
Yes. This actually got thrown into our Discord about Schloss Ritter, who's one of our Patreons, and also, and he showed this like someone had hacked an old R2D2 remote controlled figure, like in it came out in the late 70s. I'm not sure exactly. I own
you
that.
know what? I was going to say, if I'm not mistaken, that was part of Kenner's original release, because if you see those real old cartoons, it's like Kenner action figures, because the whole early bird special thing, and the figures finally hit stores in December of '78. That was one of the other items that came out at that time. So that is the oldest of collectibles.
I own it and I still have it, and it partially still works. I think they all died the same way, but it's really cool. It's got just a simple RC remote with a long metal cable. This is like not really good like design it was at the time. One button on the top moves the head, the bottom moves the body, and it goes around in a circle, and it makes this really annoying R2D2 noise, like it was. I'm like, is that the best? That's the best they could do at the time. It kind of still works, but I still love it because it was such a unique thing, and I know very few people who own that thing. So to me, it's kind of a big deal. So I love it, and it still works. I don't know if it would ruin the aesthetic to try to get it fixed, but it takes like those. What are the square batteries? 9-volt. Takes like 9 volts, but C batteries as well. So it takes like a 9-volt in the control, a 9-volt in the back, plus 2 C batteries. Like, what is this Frankenstein thing just to make it go around in circles?
Right. It's because it came out in 1978. So what did Schloss Ritter do with this to make it different or whatever?
He showed a video of someone actually upgrading it and making it do more modern tech, kind of like what was it was remember when they brought all the remote control those devices? Was it Sphero? Was that the company that did BB-8 and things like that? So it's kind of like they tried to do as much with this thing as they could, because it's got tracks and everything.
They had an R2 as well, so they could have just taken the guts from that R2.
Yeah.
Wow.
Put it in this thing. Wow, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that video. I didn't watch that one when we posted. Cool.
Where there's a will, there's a way. Cool.
It's amazing. Charlie, just out of curiosity, do you have a favorite Star Wars collectible?
No. A lot of it,
all of them, because he has all of them, Mark.
A lot of it probably ties back to my cosplay roots, which it was funny. April and I were cleaning out the garage, and that's where the rest of our cosplay stuff is, in nice plastic totes where it's safe and secure. But I have a dead ass accurate old man Han Solo cosplay, and the gray hair helps obviously from The Force Awakens. Got the belt and the greeblies that go in the belt, and a really nice 3D printed blaster. And I love busting that out. I don't have an occasion for it anyway, because I'm not really part of that community anymore.
Anniversary, so. Charlie?
That's not really something to talk about here. I mean, because all of my cosplay has to do with the club that we run, with the Star Trek Club. So, so I was talking with somebody about that recently and thinking finally, like, I wish I had an excuse to bust that out. I do have a lightsaber like you do, Mark, but it is a very vanilla Hasbro Black Series. It's a hero lightsaber, so the Anakin, Rey, Luke lightsaber that goes with a Yavin Luke, the yellow jacket one that I have, which is also pretty nice, but I refuse to put on that blonde wig. It ain't happening. Can't mess with this hair.
Oh, there we go. I probably have to say the same. Like, the lightsaber I built in Galaxy's Edge is probably my favorite Star Wars thing. But I have a lot. I'd have to really go through. I might answer that on the next episode and like really go through my collection and see what I have, because I still have like my old toys from like when they got re-released back in the 90s or whenever.
Power of the Force.
Oh, Power of the Force 2. Yeah, with big muscly Luke and Leia, who look like Joe from The Facts of Life.
I still have a lot of those. Some Lego sets, a few like weird little things. So I'm gonna have to go through and give that some thought.
Not the Jar Jar Binks. What was it? The lollipop.
I wish I had.
Oh my God!
Are you kidding me?
Or the awful from episode 1, the little talkie things. Each one came with a pad, and you would put it on it, and it would go like meow, 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 meow. It would say like a phrase from the movie that in a deathly inhuman voice sounded like it was possessed. Oh yeah, exactly.
I guarantee it no longer sounds that way.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it didn't sound good to start with. Yeah, so.
Yeah, amazing. Todd, what else have we not asked you? I think like the favorite affiliation, I think, is a new question. So like if you could basically hang out with a group in Star Wars, who would you choose to hang out with? Like the Jedi,
The
Sith, bounty hunters,
the most hateful group of Star Wars. Todd, who is it?
space pirates. Who do you think has like a good Todd kind of vibe?
I noticed you didn't put the Ewoks in here, so I'll just leave them behind.
No, you don't have to give them the
That's
mention.
okay.
Barbecue.
Okay. They might eat me. I don't want to do that.
They might
How
leave
did
you
Leia get those
behind.
clothes? Nobody asked that question. How
Right.
did she get those clothes?
They're very good seamstresses. Yeah.
No. I'm going with the Sith because the Jedi, I want their powers, but man, oh man, they have no fun. They get no attachments. Yeah. I'm assuming they can't drink. I'm assuming they are restricted to like the Hallmark Channel for their viewing pleasure. So
PBS. It's all
exactly.
PBS.
I mean, it's all like McLaughlin Group. It's nothing fun. So I want all of the fun and none of the responsibility, none of the
being a college kid.
I want to hang out with the Sith and see what they do. I mean, they've got to do something with all that like power. I mean, it's not just like making more power. It's like it's probably throwing keggers and hanging out, right?
Let's face it. What does anybody do with all that power? Get more chicks. Right?
I'm assuming that's why almost of them join the Sith.
Right, exactly. Or dudes.
That's why all the Jedi leave the Order.
Right.
You know, it's like, yeah.
It's
like the Amish, they have their what, rum tugger or whatever?
I love having Todd be on a show because he drops the facade of being poly perfect and he gets all naughty with the rest of us. It's rum sugar? Rum
Jesus.
Rum Springer. Jerry Springer.
Rum tongue tigger. Isn't that one of the cat? That's one of the cats from Cats, right?
You're thinking of I think Mark is actually having an embolism.
I have lost this episode.
Oh my god! You see, and you brought him in here. It's like, you know what? It's like saying Candyman or saying Beetlejuice. That's what
Mark was prescribed 1 dose of Todd every 2 weeks. He's got it now double. So
he's having an adverse reaction. Look at his face.
I love this. Fantastic. That's a good answer. We've had that answer, not exactly for the Animal House party vibes before, but we've had that answer. I like
secret probation, baby.
Yeah. Good. Have a beer. Don't cost nothing.
I need to see this movie now. Like, I don't care if it's Visions or whatever. Like, I need to see the Sith.
I've asked for my Star Wars sex round. We have not gotten it yet.
House.
You bet. I hope it's a little more tame than like Revenge of the Nerds. Let's hope so.
Weekend at Darth Plagueis's. I don't know, like this week.
Revenge of the Nerds, Revenge of the Sith. It's like there's
right.
Yeah, we got something going here.
Oh my god!
Vision season 3. Give us a call. We'll write a script. No worries.
Got it. You're not going to like it, but we will write it.
We will totally.
We'll cross those picket lines.
Hand animate it too.
Yeah, we will cross those picket lines. We are the Star Wars scabs. SWS.
That's what we'll do. The newest question, aside from the favorite collectible, which I think I'm going to start, I'm going to keep. I'm going to start asking people that.
Fine. You go right to his head. Give him an ego.
One of our newer questions is basically, Star Wars. It's all about tragedy and suffering and ponchos and fun laser swords and parties. Apparently,
belts, boots, and jackets.
So
with all that suffering and shenanigans, what hilarious way would Todd Oxtra die if he was in the Star Wars universe?
I'm going to die because this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to basically essentially how the guy that brought the gremlin home and he shouldn't have and all the things. I'm doing that with the Ewoks, though. And I'm going to be like the Ewok rancher, and I'm going to sell them to people. And before I can even sell my first Ewok, they are going to have a revolt, and they are going to enjoy a good Todd entree. I'm going to be on that spit, and they'll offer other people tastes of me. It'll be great.
It's funny, Mark, perhaps we should recount for him if he hasn't listened to us say how we would die in the Star Wars universe. Mine also involves an Ewok, but it's much more salacious because there's also a Wookiee there. It's a jacked up 3-way. We set it up on Star Wars Craigslist and they tear me in half. It's bad. It's real bad. Yeah, I know.
Todd, the OnlyFans phage finally happened.
Exactly. Oh my God. And Mark's is predictable, but no less tame.
I'd say here to a Rancor or some other beastly creature, and that would just.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen them tamed before.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be totally fine. Come here.
That was April showed me footage from Yellowstone of somebody trying to pet a bison over the weekend.
I saw that. She was nuts.
Oh my God. I was like,
crazy.
you know what? If somebody would have filmed that girl getting gored, it would never happen again. But that's a little dark. Right? Sorry.
You should never be allowed to kill the animal that when you did the dumb thing. Those animals should be able to live.
Yeah. They should be able to kill more people.
Yeah. I also saw a clip of shortly in this like the same time frame of a honey badger going after an antelope or something that just like slingshotted it into the air with its like the horns, and the honey badger went back for more. It was like, that's a fun ride. Let's do this again.
You want a piece of me, mother effer?
And they both
honey
walked away.
Yeah.
And nobody that posted the video or like animal experts were like, we don't know what the honey badger was doing. Like it wasn't trying to eat it. It was just being a dick. And the thing was like, go away. And the honey badger was like, no.
I just like to kill.
But he wasn't trying to kill it. He was just being an asshole. It was just fantastic. It's just like these things just don't care.
Nature's frat boy. Listen to that.
Don't give an F. Yes.
So good. Anyway, let's switch and talk about Star Wars Visions Season 2. We're doing this as a two-parter. Todd was awesome enough to jump in for this first part, and we're going to be talking about the first 4 episodes. So those episodes include the Sith, or just Sith, I think.
Just Sith. Yeah, just Sith.
Sith, yep. Screecher's Reach, In the Stars, and I Am Your Mother. I'm your mother. So... How do you want to do this? I kind of have a few questions. Do you want, Charlie? Do you want to give a breakdown of each?
You want me to
episode?
summarize this? I'll make it a little quicker than my giant text that Todd was making me for fun of. But
before we do that, I do want to warn anyone that we're not holding back on spoilers here.
Spoiler
we're going to be sharing our full our full thoughts, our full like rundown of these episodes. So if you haven't watched Star Wars Visions Season 2 and you plan on it, this is a good time to duck out. Thanks for listening.
They're 18 minutes each. You can knock these out in an hour.
I watched them before we started recording, like today.
I had to watch 2 through 4 today just because my life is so chaotic watching stuff, but it's very fresh. Okay, Sith. These all dropped on May the 4th, by the way, so just about a month ago. This was directed by Rodrigo Blas and written by Rodrigo Blas, or animated. And I'm sorry, I'm used to reading it. It's directed by, written by, and animated by. The animated by is El Guri. As the Sith remain hidden during the reign of the High Republic, Lola, a former Sith apprentice, lives in solitude on a desolate planet with her droid E2. Had to find another letter of the alphabet there, and is trying to channel the Force into painting her base. That's pretty cool. However, despite her efforts, the paint keeps forming dark smudges that don't go away. While investigating a droid that crashed on the planet, she is suddenly visited by her former Sith master, who chases her down to the base with 2 droids and forces a confrontation. Inside, he insists that she is to become the new Sith master by killing him and forcing the rule of 2. Lola comes to the realization that she needs to accept both the light and the dark, becoming gray, and promptly kills the Sith master with her double-edged sword with 1 yellow and one red blade. That was awesome.
Man, spoilers in these things.
Ouch, big time. Which is why I like him so much. So we don't miss anything. With him telling her, "You are the Sith master now," before crumbling to dust. Oh, that's a new one. Now in control of her own destiny, simply calling herself the master, Lola finishes the painting and leaves the planet with E2. Did she finish the painting and just like somebody else to find it? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. All right, so are we going bit by bit? We're going to talk about this one, and then
let's recap all. Or do you guys want to share?
You know what? I'll go through. I'll read them all, and then we can talk about them as a glob.
Yeah, let's do that.
Number 2 is Screecher's Reach. Paul Young, not the singer, is the writer or is the director, written by Will Collins and Jason Tamanjaj. I'm not even going to try. Cartoon Saloon is the studio. Prior to the initial extinction of the sink, a young girl named Dal lives in a workhouse with friends Bathan, Quinn, and Keena. Tired of living there, Dal convinces her friends to head out to Screecher's Reach, a remote cave, with her by stealing some land speed vehicles. The cave is rumored to hold a ghost within its walls, and the friends are eager to find it. Always a bad idea. Through the journey, Dal is motivated by an unusual necklace she carries. They find the cave and run into the ghost, who turns out to be an elderly Sith apprentice woman that has been trapped inside. Dal and her friends run away, but then using the Force, she crushes the ghost with a boulder and then finishes her off with her own lightsaber. Ouch.
Oh, go ahead, Charlie.
No. Go ahead, please.
The first part, you didn't have any cast members. The first part, but the second one, Angelica Houston was the Sith Mother.
What? Oh my gosh! Well,
that's amazing, and she said nothing.
She was.
She screeched.
She was.
The Sith Mother was the one that came out of the.
She spoke. She spoke. All right. Yeah. Don't.
Really?
Don't. Well, if you'd let me finish reading, it says that right here. The necklace.
No. That was part of the cast of Screecher's Reach.
But this explains it explains here that Dal escapes the cave. The necklace is revealed to be a communicator from a Sith Lord called Sith Mother, which is Angelica Houston.
Oh, that's right at the end. So my bad.
Who has given Dal the task to finish off her own apprentice and take her place at her side. Despite Dal's efforts, Sith Mother refuses to also take her friends, leaving them feeling betrayed. Dal reluctantly leaves and looks back at her friends one last time. Heavy. All right. Number 3, In the Stars, Gabriel Osorio from Punk Robot Studios. During the reign of the Empire, 2 sisters, Khotin and T'China, are the last of their kind after the Empire has conquered their planet and committed genocide in their species. Kind of like the Empire's greatest hits. They do that a lot. Their mother, a Force sensitive, led a failed rebellion to the Empire, who have created a factory that has taken away the planet's clean water, and the mother was killed in the resulting conflict, and the factory has caused severe light pollution as well as water pollution for the sea. While T'China is convinced they can defeat them with the Force, the elder and jaded Khotin is solely focused on keeping them alive. After they run out of water, Khotin is forced to sneak into the factory and take water from the factory's water purifiers. However, T'China follows her inside and gets spotted by stormtroopers for no good reason, or snowtroopers. That kind of annoyed me. Exposed, Khotin and T'China attempt to flee, but T'China runs back inside, intending to destroy the primary water tank with the Force, and with it, the base. Subsequently caught, she's nearly executed, but Khotin awakens her own Force abilities to save her sister, and together they destroy the factory and flood everyone within. As the sisters happily embrace, they see that life is returning to the planet, really conveniently, and they see their mother, who they believe is a star, looking down on them. Wow. Holy cow. Boy, these are so action-packed. Number 4, I Am Your Mother. I'm not going to butcher names. This is from Aardman Studios. My respect to the creators. For some years after the defeat of the Empire, Wedge Antilles has formed a flight academy for new pilots. One of the cadets, a Twi'lek named Annie Kalfas, was inspired to become a pilot by her single mother, Kalina, and has since come to find her mother's coddling embarrassing. Consequently, she neglects to tell her about a starship racing event from the flight academy where families compete with each other. Annie is also picked on by fellow student Julan Van Riepel, who bears a striking resemblance to Lucy from Peanuts, in my opinion, whose mother, Dorada, with the Darth Vader helmet hair, pilots a much more sophisticated ship. When Kalina suddenly shows up to return Annie's lunch, she learns of the race and is egged on by the Van Riepels when they insult her ship, and it's race time. During the race, Annie admits to her mother that she embarrasses her, but she takes it in stride and has her win the race for them, defeating the Van Riepels. Annie apologizes for what she said, but Kalinda also tells her embarrassing her is what moms do best. My own mother would say that is 100% the other way around. No one can embarrass you like your children. One of my mother's favorite expressions.
Fantastic.
Symbiosis.
Yeah. Whole lot of different emotions and range.
Big time.
So I'm going to start off out of this bunch. What was your favorite, or do you have a favorite? It's very hard to pick. Todd, let's start with you. Any standout particularly in this one, or you just kind of like the range?
Ooh, I will say I didn't love season 1 because it kind of felt very similar with an anime lens, and a lot of the stories felt like, oh, it's the Sith, the Empire's come to a village and we now we have to save them. This felt like it was, to your point, Mark, broader range, and it was great, and it reflected in the animation styles and also the tone and the scope and the scale of all of these ones. They varied on different levels. I think the fact that I've seen Sith now, I think 3 or 4 times, this tells the tale of which one I like the best. Especially after with Charlie talking about Spider-Verse, and Elgiri, I think, took notes on animation, and it really was compelling. And I love the work, the use of art along with that to paint the space she was in and how she used that to reflect it. Really, really compelling storytelling in a different animation style that we've seen in Star Wars, and at times beautiful, at times rough and gritty, especially when you saw the lightsabers and almost kind of like not perfect, kind of like Kylo Ren's lightsaber, where it's kind of like
crackle,
imperfect and
very unstable,
arcing, and even the way they use that. So that's probably my favorite. But man, it's hard. This is like a Sophie's Choice because they all have their elements. And I showed my wife the Aardman before just at dinner, and she was really impressed. She loves Aardman, love it, and I love all they always have their British voice actors. So
Aardman is just to clue you in, because I knew it immediately, is made most famous by the Wallace and Gromit shorts.
Yes,
Shaun the Sheep and Chicken Run.
Chicken Run, yeah, that's the other one. So okay, I had a tie, echoing a lot of the things that Todd said. I loved I Am Your Mother because I do love I love the quirky British humor. I love the accents, maybe because we're all coming off of the end of Ted Lasso and how much you guys loved it. It took a long time for me to come around, but boy, when April and I finally clicked with it, we raced through watching it. And we all talked about, if you listen to SFU, which is out by the time you're listening to this, we all talked about how it was Todd and myself and our friend Joe Moran talking about the tears we wept watching that last episode. So I did adore that, but it ties right up with Screecher's Reach as tonally very different. The characters were very Irish, which that is my background and my heritage. So that really touched me. And it really, to me, illustrates the choices not only a young person makes in moving beyond a social structure or moving beyond a place they live, but choices that we all make every day, and this is not precisely that, but moving beyond one evolution to another in your life. Like I'm moving from this job, or I'm moving to this town, or I'm in this relationship that ended, or this thing or that thing. Like I said, night and day opposite, but those two I would hold above. And I'm with the remaining 5 episodes we have talked about, I can't even imagine that it could get better than this, but it just might. I mean, I was blown away.
And when you mentioned that the studio that did Screecher's Reach, very Irish, this is like a Banshee. This is like a Spirit of the Banshee. Yeah. It was a really cool adventure.
Right.
And we had 2 episodes potentially tied to the Sith, and one went one way, one went the other way, which I thought was really cool.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely correct. So I dug it.
Screecher's Reach had me very confused the whole time through. Just thinking, like, because it echoed so much of Luke and Rey and their journey into a cave to face the dark side, to overcome the dark side. So I really thought this was leading straight up to defeating that dark side, whether it was, I didn't expect it to be a real Sith. I thought it was going to be some sort of vision or something like Luke faced. And then when it was, I still thought like, okay, yeah, this is going to lead up to some sort of like the Jedi are going to find this person. They're going to, and it ends up like the scream was horrifying the whole time. I'm like, yeah, this is like the Jedi trial, right? This is a Jedi trial cave. Yeah. Right. She's a Jedi. And then the communicator turned red. And it's like, oh shit. They're like training this one to be a Sith. Like this is, but it's also her way out. It's also, like you said, it's also her moving on to that next step and in a sense kind of taking that new job or that next leap. And it's like, well, that's, I guess being, the Sith in this case is the next, and I'd love to see how they keep twisting her and cause it starts off, it's very innocent. It's very like Goonies like adventure. It's just like, hey,
a ghost story. You want to see a ghost?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to see a ghost. I don't want to see
right? Like it's
And I will say, even, you know, the a very ancillary part of it is their journey on those speeder bikes over that shallow water, that lake, and the reflection of the moons in the distance, and the top to bottom one of those, you know, kind of like Forrest Gump. I couldn't tell where the sky began and the earth ended. It was just that was probably my favorite. I don't know if I'm skipping ahead. Probably my favorite visual of all of that. All of these.
I will briefly mention. I think my favorite out of this bunch, and it's very close, and I'm going to mention other ones for other reasons, but In the Stars, I think overall spoke to me the most from this one, because it, in 15 minutes or less, I can't remember the full runtime of this one, like
16
minutes,
to 18. I looked at most of them. Yeah.
This ran such an emotional story.
It's true.
So beautifully done, showed how evil the Empire is, showed just how much they devastate everywhere that they go. Told such a touching and meaningful story that echoes a lot of what we've seen in the past of, you know, development and taking over resources. I mean, there's so many parallels that you can go even now, let alone in you know, in the past. But just the sisters and the emotional beat of them being the last two of their kind. They're related. They're both female. I don't know how the species reproduces, but you have to think that these two are just done. That's it. They're done.
Yeah, right. Right.
You know, unless they can produce somehow asexually or something like that, and just whatever. But like
they bud.
Yeah, right. Like, but you know, for all intents and purposes, you have to assume that these two are just going to live out their lives, and that's the end of the species. So whether or not they defeat the Empire has already won, which I think was such a
that's tough. That's tough,
gut wrenching kind of thing. But that ending of, you know, the mother looking happy in the stars, and just you know, the whole, all the handprints from the rest of their crew on the rock. I just thought that was so beautiful and so well done. And just everything that I kind of want in Star Wars, of this feeling of rebellion against the Empire, the feeling of a real fight.
Yeah.
Even if you've lost.
Yeah.
Even if you've already
raging
lost.
Against the dying of the light, like in Andor, you know, F the Empire.
And they didn't have to, they could have waited for somebody to save them, but they saved themselves. And the little girl who didn't stop believing, even though her sister had given up, and the two of them together, it was wonderful. And this one really, because, you know, the animation styles is, you know, in the Stars and Aardman, you think that they're the same, but they're not. Aardman is stop motion claymation. In the Stars is all 3D. So it looked claymation in a way. Yeah. So it was amazing that, and then obviously you get Screecher's Reach, which was hand-drawn animation. And then Ilgiri, which is, I don't even know what you call that artwork. It's that Spider-Verse style is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So that moves us on to the next one I want to ask is, what was your favorite animation style? Or again, can you even pick one? Because they're all so different this time. Which
I cannot myself. I'll make it short. I really can't. I thought they all worked. Brilliantly.
Todd, what about you? Did you lean towards one?
It's Sith.
Me too.
Because I think that's where I would like to see more Star Wars go, in that fashion of not totally realistic, but can do so much things that looks amazing on the screen. Battles that are amazing, lightsaber battles. These other ones were cutesy, and except for Screecher's Reach, we had that one moment. I don't know if those styles are the styles I would love to see with big space battles and things like that. Epic moments. I think Sith nails epic moments, where I think the other ones are smaller styles that capture certain moments of
slice of life. Small stories. Yeah. Right. Star Wars absolutely needs both, without a doubt, to grow a universe.
Absolutely.
You have to have both sides. I won't say anything about Star Trek, but anyway.
I mean, it's going to depend on the story that you want to tell. If it's a small, more intimate story, something like Wolfwalkers, like Screecher's Reach, could work for Star Wars, but it is a little bit more of that homegrown, kind of down to earth kind of feel. I completely agree. Sith, absolutely. I think even overall of every single episode, I don't know if it gets more visually interesting than Sith. to start things off with that one, where they can play with the colors, they can play with the palette based on emotion and based on just the feeling of what the person is feeling and what you're supposed to feel, and just how they change that, how they use color and darkness to portray this master accepting her fate and accepting that colors and the world and herself, that everything needs darkness. The darkness is a part of that. You can't have a painting and you can't have the world, and she can't have herself without accepting some of that darkness. And when she hits that the red blade on the lightsaber, it shows that she accepts that, and she finishes her painting because she accepts that the darkness is part of her, but she can also control the light too. So I thought that was such a visually interesting way to tell that story and to dive into that emotion. You could have told that in any one of these art styles, but to use the art style as a storytelling technique, I thought was just above and beyond for animation.
I was going to say, Mark, with that one moment where she's investigating in that vehicle with like the one wheel, and then she's fleeing, and how she uses that motion. I mean, that is one of the best moments in Star Wars, just action I have seen. And I would love to see more of that like that, because it's amazing. And it just really is telling you like how you can do dynamic action and make it count. Like when the Sith is pulling apart her droid. I mean, that's heart-wrenching, and it was impactful.
Yeah. True, 15 minutes, and they made you feel about another droid, told the story, told the emotion, told everything they needed to, and had, like you said, some kick-ass, like top quality Star Wars action. You compare that kind of a chase scene to like They Can Fly Now, and I didn't mind that scene, but it was just kind of like, okay, cool, they're on speeders, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like you see this kind of thing, and it kind of made me do that like hell yes kind of screech moment, like I did when Cal Kestis yeeted a stormtrooper into an oncoming TIE fighter.
Ouch!
You and your yeet, Mark.
I know. I gotta throw that in.
It's yeet-tacular.
Everything you said is spot on there. Any favorite characters pop up? It doesn't have to be from your favorite one. Any just interesting characters pop up for you guys?
Todd.
Oh, it's got to be Lola. I mean, I could see that character being the next big thing. I don't know what era this happened. It says, it's during the Reign of the High Republic. She could be a character they could bring in, and I would love to see more of her adventures, because I don't know where she's going or what she's going to do, but I want to be there and see what havoc she causes.
It would be a shame to just chuck it, to yeet it, as it were, out of existence. But I'm going to go with Kalina. From our final story from blah blah blah, I Am Your Mother, because to me it's a charming tale of mother-daughter, and just children and parents in general, and being a teen or a preteen, and just to finally finding out, yes, it's a very sitcom-y kind of format, like, we won the day, and the end of it, evil is defeated. I did love that the what was it? I keep wanting to call them the Van Peoples. The Van Reeples had a little micro Death Star, and that was the offensive weapon on their ship. That was
that was awesome.
That was pretty cute.
So many little.
Is it Kalina or Annie, Charlie? Annie's the daughter.
Annie's the daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
See, I thought you had a point there with Kalina. I want to know her backstory.
The mom.
Yeah.
And what
she hangs out with, what's her name from the Amy Sedaris. She hangs out with Amy Sedaris. We know that. They're buddies. They're drinking buddies. Yeah. Hanging out, dating Jawas.
Yeah. Oh boy, they're actually furry under those robes. Now, is this Tatooine or a similar planet? There was a lot of traffic. It kind of made me think, is this like a deserty part of Coruscant we've not seen before? It was a little fuzzy.
Training planet, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Wedge.
Yeah, it could be parts unknown. That's parts for you. But it's obviously post it's New Republic era, because Wedge is a little celebrity. Like, I'm Wedge Antilles. I'm running this.
Was anyone worried about like these vehicles going down in a populace? I'm like, what?
No, it was like the just held Detroit Grand Prix in my hometown of
There
Detroit,
goes a tire
Michigan.
into a building.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they had it all walled off. I don't know why they
Sure.
moved it. I don't know why they moved it downtown. It used to be out on Belle Isle, which is far away.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
the unshowed part of this episode is just Luke Skywalker hauling ass through the entire race, just in case something falls, he can stop with the force.
Whoa, woo. Yeah, exactly.
Is Wedge the Zap Brannigan, by the way? Is he like the Zap Brannigan? He was great.
They trying to turn him into a little bit more of a character.
Yeah.
So yeah. But no, it was fun. You know, and I definitely enjoyed the mother as a character.
Mark?
Dal, I think for me. Just like I said, I want to see if she can keep that childlike innocence, if she realizes what's going on with the Sith, if she realizes she's being manipulated, or is she another kind of Anakin who just it's a way out, it's a better thing. She understands maybe, and you see her kind of betray her friends right away and say, well, if I'm not allowed to take you guys, then see ya, whatever.
Yeah, right.
So you wonder if that, or maybe will that attachment come back to bite her in the ass and kind of be a reverse Anakin, where the Sith think they're, doing that, but her attachment's going to bring her back to the light. I think it's an interesting character, and I think it's, like I said, could be some flip side to an Anakin style story. So
I think, Mark, it's your ginger showing. You just like gingers.
That's right. You got to love Ireland. That's
my peoples.
Absolutely. Which do these? I think this season in general, and especially these episodes, fit better into canon. Than the first season, like anything in the first season. Is there anything that stands out to you guys here that, like, yes, it's stylized or it's funnier or whatever, like it's funnier take, but like I think even up to like I Am Your Mother, like taking a kind of comedic take, but I think
because and the way that they're spread out throughout, legacy era and newer era, I would say for sure Todd's favorite of the Sith. That I think that fits in perfectly, because
High Republic era, right?
You've got this High Republic era, which is just it's being fleshed out. We've had the novels, we've had the comics, we have the Alkalite coming up, Alkaline Battery. I always screw that word up. We've got that show coming up, the Acolyte. So yeah, this could be. How spectacular would it be to have your Sith turn up in that show, or a future season of that show? Possibilities.
I don't know. We've only got one that actually explicitly says when it is, so that's the first episode. The rest of the episodes, except for maybe the last one, is the last one. When is the last one?
That's post Empire. Yeah.
Oh, after the defeat. Okay, so post Jedi.
In Screecher's Reach, it's during prior to the initial extinction of the Sith. Which puts it. What's that put it? That would be before High Republic, maybe, or during
before High Republic.
That's really okay.
Yeah, and in the stars is during regular OT time frame, because you've got regular stormtroopers, you've got a regular Imperial governor type running around. So
so all of these could fit.
All of these.
Yeah. Where in season one, things were really loosey goosey. You had the satire episode with the band singing about Banthas and Jawas. Like it was very much a miss for me. Pretty much everything that happened in the first season, and I kind of nodded and smiled our way through the episode that we did back then, because Mark and our guests, I know you guys were really jazzed about it, but I was like,
I love the first episode with the samurai Jedi, essentially with the Ronin. That was amazing, but the rest of it was kind of like, eh.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that was the best. That was the most, because I don't really. I never went back to them. I couldn't tell you the Samurai Jedi one and the one about with the Star Wars band, the Cantina band. That's all that I remember. And there was one about some siblings fighting on top of a Star Destroyer, and that's. I
felt like they repeat a lot of story beats. To be honest,
I could think of those three moments, but those moments could have happened time and
again. Toby. I thought that one's super cute in the first season. Toby, the Jedi droid. Anyway, so, but for this one, you guys think most of these could fit into canon?
Absolutely, sure. Because they left themselves room to do so, and they didn't take it to a point that was ridiculous. It didn't, even the last one, the mother one, yep. was fun, but it wasn't ridiculous. They weren't like, and now she's got force powers and she's turned the entire town upside down or something. Or she, it was the bottle city of Kandor, and then Superman showed up. I mean, it's just, they didn't do anything totally out of control.
Yeah.
No, it's great.
Yeah. Charlie, I think that's the difference between this season and the first season is nothing was so over the top that it would break canon.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm a canon guy, and again, the perfect contrary argument is that, well, if it's a great story, then who cares? That's true. Star Wars is very good about pulling in those EU, qualities, like, Dash Rendar is a part of it. No. Mark, we still haven't gone down the route of Shadows of the Empire. I swear to God,
we have to.
Ooh, that's my wheelhouse.
We might have to get Todd back for that one, just because we really lived it as young adults because we were in college.
It's the only Star Wars novel I've read is Shadows of the Empire.
I tried to reread it about 5 or 6 years ago and did not.
Why
make
would
it
you?
through it. Yeah,
we were ravenous because there was no content at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny because to your point, with all of these, I feel like they fit a niche that is really cool for Star Wars, which is great. Because we really haven't, I'm trying to remember that one Star Wars show, what was it, Resistance? Which was kind of like doing what the last episode was. But I felt like this episode had so much more character than Resistance did in one 15-minute episode than Resistance did for me. I just felt like that show kind of felt cookie cutter and kind of generic versus this. I'm like, the characters are just well written and fun and goofy. But it's Aardman, so I don't know if it's Aardman. So
they stuck to their format. They stayed in their lane and still gave us something that was watchable and fun and was Star Wars, because it had a very Star Warsy kind of message, with a lot of which had to do about family, and then it was the pod racing, which is fun. It was one of the more fun parts of episode 1 because people weren't talking so much, which I. You get to hear the benefit of all George Lucas's fine dialogue in episode 1.
Get to hear those great English accents too from the Aardman.
Yes, exactly.
So the last thing I want to ask then is if all of these fit into canon, if you had to choose one to kind of make a series out of, and I think we may have already touched on
I'd say
feelings and answers to this, but to fit into canon, like seeing a story take off and continue on its own in its own merit is one thing, but which one of these would you like to see Star Wars explore in canon as more of a developed show, and really push forward? Todd, do you have an answer for that? Or is
it's definitely the first one. If they can continue that unique art style and carry it forth and do unique things with it. I don't want it to be like, we did that, but we couldn't afford it, and then we had to dumb it down and we made her just a generic person. We use like the Rebels art style, because I appreciate what they did, but I want to see more chances taken, like Spider-Verse and things like that. But I think it's where she is an unattached person who needs to find attachments now. And I think it's perfect for her to explore and find her own path and her own group of people. So I think that's perfect.
Maybe I'll flip this then and say, get rid of the art style.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
If you were going to do one of these in live action,
that's one
which
for
one
me.
would you pick?
That's the one for me.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because it's the story that's the element. But you're right. Continuing to keep up, it's like, how do you keep topping it? Right? Like, it's so great. What do we take to the next level? How do we maintain? Where live action is simply live action. It's going to bring with it any of the requisite quality that you would expect from live action in the modern era, like Andor, or what you saw in Obi-Wan and space battles and this, that.
Pick your director and choose the style you want to go with. You want to make like an old school action film type of premise for it, like a John Wick,
right?
Or do you want to do something a little bit more like a Tarantino style? You could do that too with that character. I think any of those would work
without all the swears. of the Tarantino style. But watching this character go from place to place, trying to find her identity, trying to fend off the struggle of falling too far onto the wrong side, stealing herself
having
back.
the stink of the Sith on her.
Yeah.
And being rejected and not being embraced, and kind of like Mando, everybody feared Mando, and it was his story as well. I mean, there's no Baby Yoda in this, but there is, her way and where she goes.
There'll be a cute droid or a sassy alien at some point.
We're gonna get a baby Babu Frick. That's gonna be a baby Frick.
Baby Babu Frick would be about this big. Like, hi, buddy.
Yeah. And it takes 300 years, and they grow an inch every 300 years.
Oh boy, I can't believe we almost got through this without Todd going on a rant about Baby Yoda. Why can't he talk yet?
It was a very short rant. Quick question. I respect it. A quick question about this, though. The only reason Screecher's Reach is like, okay, I feel we're going to get that story in the Acolyte. So I don't know. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will.
Okay.
But maybe we won't, because maybe that's someone from the Jedi going to the Sith. So I feel like we're going to get that type of journey eventually, which is great. But if we didn't get that, then I would say Dolls, we've never seen anyone indoctrinated into the Sith and brought forward through those years. It's always been like, oh, they're Sith. Here you go.
Right.
Yeah, I think the latest rumors or synopsis for the Acolyte is a Sith spy. Maybe going to Jedi Academy. I think that's the premise of it. I could be
Fox in the
very wrong.
henhouse kind of thing. Yeah.
Someone let us know if I'm very, very wrong with that. But kind of similar vibes of like maybe one side starts to speak to her and the other side is still trying to pull it. So I think you're right. The internal struggle could be that internal struggle that we want to see in Dal. So Sith might be the most interesting answer for live action that we haven't seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we ever get those great writers back to work,
that's it.
Pay them.
Yes, exactly. Fellas, let's wrap it up there and call it a night. This was a great episode. Todd, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on Visions. It's not often we get to talk Star Wars, but I love it when you do. So thank you.
That might be half a lie there, Mark, because I don't know if you always love it, but I'm glad this was an episode I could really espouse some excitement about Star Wars for me. And I want good Star Wars, and I felt like all of this was great Star Wars. So give me more of this, please, and I'll gladly come back.
Well, Todd, I'll give you a truth to his half statement. Thank you for not embarrassing me. I appreciate it.
There's still time. We still have all of it run until you can embarrass him. Todd, tell people where they can find you on the internet.
At Todd Oxtra is my primary place where I'm just having a good time talking about video games, sports, fantasy football, and all those things. And when I'm not doing that, obviously, I'm talking about our fantastic group at Secret Friends U, secretfriendsunite.com. YouTube, Secret Friends Unite. Check us out there. Leave a review. Check us out. Our backgrounds, the things that happen in the background. Mark might even have a haunted balloon in his background. We don't know.
It could be something back there in that hallway.
You might see the ghoulies that are actually causing all the problems in Charlie's toys. And
there's one.
There might be a portal we don't know. Doing that, and just definitely check out all our stuff because we have awesome stuff to share. And and if you want Mark's thoughts on the world of a certain fruit and their endeavors, there might be something for you soon.
Oh, Fruit Ninja. That is
my goodness. Well, you can. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, you swatting one off your back? There's the ghoulie. I saw him back in that hallway there. That's scary stuff. Well, you can find me over on Twitter at the C3. Just go ahead and spell it out. As always, my lovely wife April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey, one of the largest chapters of the International Star Trek Fan Club in the world, based here in West Michigan. I also help out trekkers in Michigan and Eastern Canada find their spots. Visit our website and any of our socials if I can help you meet Star Trek folks in your area. Hot young singles in your area. Not quite Star Trek singles or marrieds or just Star Trek people. It's all good. I love it.
This is the co-host you've chosen, Mark.
64 episodes strong. Don't make me sing when I'm 64. Dun, dun.
You can find me everywhere at @the_Canardian. I'm spending more time on Instagram rather than Twitter these days, but I still pop in. So if you want to see me there, just say hello. But I'm also in our Discord channel, like the guys mentioned already. And that's where to find me.
Rock and roll. Well, friends, thank you again for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and keep on trucking.
May the force be with you. Rex, play us out. This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.